The plane did not cut all those core columns.
Buildings to take the impact of the Boeing 707 hitting the building at any location.
The building probably could sustain multiple impacts of jetliners.
What can do that? What can move mass out of the way? Explosives.
Heard the noise associated with an implosion.
Secondary explosion on Tower 2.
Some sort of explosive device.
We're obviously having a bit of trouble right now maintaining our location because we just heard one more explosion.
There was another major explosion.
Do you know anything about those extra explosions we heard?
No, I do not.
Were they car bombs?
I have no idea, ma'am.
The string shook, and I heard like an explosion.
Do you know if it was an explosion or if it was a building collapse? To me, it sounded like an explosion. We heard a very loud blast, an explosion. They were taking photographs and securing this area just prior to that huge explosion that we all heard and felt. Not clear now is why this explosion took place. When there was some sort of collapse or explosion.
From street level, as though it had exploded up, a giant rolling ball of flame, and the firefighters screamed, "Run!"
For an explosion. At that point, I got knocked out. I don't remember anything. Then I got up, and I looked out the window because the windows exploded, and the street below caved in. And at that point, there was like fireballs coming up.
An hour later than that, we had that big explosion from much, much lower. I don't know what on earth caused that.
About 15 minutes after they made their entry, we heard a boom. I don't know if that was the infrastructure that was going or another explosion.
Again, there has been a second explosion.
John, just seconds ago there was a huge explosion, and it appears right now the second World Trade Tower has just collapsed.
All of a sudden I heard rumbling, and we all started running away from it. The glass blew out and threw me onto the sidewalk, and I couldn't see for 20 seconds.
It was like holy hell coming down them stairs. And then when we finally got to the bottom, they were coming out on the mezzanine level there. And another explosion came right on because everyone flying.
We stuck on the stairs for a while. We finally got down to the lobby. Then we get to the lobby, it was this big explosion.
So I was real lucky. I don't know what happened to the people behind me when that blast occurred.
And it was actually on the 78th floor of the second tower, and was evacuating the tower, and experienced all these explosions and made his way back down.
We presume because of the initial explosion there may have been secondary explosions as well that were detonated in the building by these terrorists.
There was a secondary explosion, probably a device either planted before or on the aircraft that did not explode until an hour later.
I heard a second explosion and another rumble and more smoke.
Witnesses also reported that explosions had taken place in lower levels of both the North and South Tower.
Ladies that are with me were in the World Trade Center in the first building and escaped through the lobby, where they report that they believe there was a bomb in the lobby.
Just get out of the tunnel and the blue.
The subway tunnel?
Yeah.
Yes, I was right there. I was down in the basement. Came down. All of a sudden, the elevator blew up. Smoke. I dragged the guy out. His skin was hanging off, and I dragged him out, and I helped him out to the ambulance.
And when I got up to the concourse level, it was just like gunfire, and then just three big explosions.
And even the turnstile was burned.
By the main freight corridor building, in the corridor, that's when I got blown. I mean, the impact of the explosion threw me to the floor.
The city lost 343 firefighters at the World Trade Center. Since they were the ones inside the towers before and as they collapsed, I'd say they've got a pretty good grasp on what happened. So what does the FDNY think?
I went around by the freight elevator, and I could see it was just blown. It was just a giant shit. 30th floor. We hear another explosion. And at that time, we heard a huge explosion.
Firefighter Louis Caccioli told People Weekly, "I was taking firefighters up in the elevator to the 24th floor to get in position to evacuate workers. On the last trip up, a bomb went off. We think there were bombs set in the building." For more than a year, the Port Authority blocked the release of a tape of firefighters' transmissions from the World Trade Center on 9/11. In November 2002, the tape was finally released to the New York Times and other news outlets. Why did it take so long to get the tape released?
I got an eyewitness who said there was an explosion on floor 7-8. 7-8. We've just had another explosion. Warren Street because of the secondary explosion. We've got numerous people covered with dust from the secondary explosion. And we got another explosion on the tower, 1013. Number 2 has had a major explosion and what appears to be a complete collapse surrounding the entire area. Who's involved in the secondary explosion at Tower 1K? I've got 5.
You heard a big explosion before the building fell?
I saw it as it was happening, and it sounded as if you had 100 of those little black cat firecrackers and you lit them all off at once. That's what it sounded like. It sounded like the finale of the 4th of July over the East.
One of the guys, he can tell you I'm okay, all right? Here, hold on. You want to call your mother or something?
You gotta get back to here. I know that. You gotta get back. All right? I know. The 4-1 should have taken a couple of companies that they were leaving back to us that were stuck in the tunnel.
Of ammonium nitrate and caused local earthquakes between magnitude 1 and 2.
47 huge steel columns going up the core. They're interconnected. How do you get them to fail simultaneously so the core disappears? It looks like those core columns were cut.
The way we do this is by cutting the beam at an angle.
Do you still think that jet fuel brought down the World Trade Center? In all the videos of the collapses, explosions can be seen bursting from the building 20 to 30 stories below the demolition wave. Here, 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 and here. Etienne Sarre was filming her documentary, World Trade Center, the first 24 hours, and caught both collapses on tape. Watch carefully. The tripod shakes 12 seconds before the North Tower begins collapsing. And something is knocked off the right-hand side of the building.
Sempre que essas evidências são apresentadas, as pessoas fazem as diferentes perguntas. A primeira é, se aviões diferentes foram usados, o que aconteceu com os originais? Infelizmente, não existe possibilidade de saber o que realmente aconteceu. Entretanto, se pudéssemos ver o conteúdo das caixas pretas dos aviões, se provaria se são os aviões originais. Um avião comercial carrega 2 caixas pretas diferentes. De acordo com o FBI, 7 das 8 foram danificadas, e não é possível repará-las. Resumindo, 7 caixas diferentes, feitas dos materiais mais resistentes conhecidos pelo homem, foram completamente destruídas e irreparáveis. Mas um passaporte feito de material frágil, conhecido como papel, conseguiu passar por uma explosão de 1100 graus e caiu sem danos a alguns quarteirões, onde o FBI convenientemente encontrou para incriminar Saddam Hussein e Al-Qaeda pelos ataques. Quem escreveu esse roteiro? E sobre esses sequestradores? Pode parecer engraçado, mas pelo menos 9 ainda estão vivos. Walid Min Al-Sherri, um piloto da Saudi Arabian Airlines, vive em Marrocos. William Al-Sherri está vivo e bem. Adaluk Al-Omar é um piloto saudita da Aeroliner vivendo na Arábia Saudita. Mohamed Sherler está vivo e mora na Arábia Saudita. Khalid Ashmidar é programador de computadores e mora em Meca. Salam Hashemi trabalha em Embu, na Arábia Saudita. Saed Al-Agami é piloto e vive na Tunísia. Ahmad Almi é supervisor da empresa aérea da Arábia Saudita. E, finalmente, Mohammed Atta, seu pai, disse ter recebido ligações dele no dia 12 de setembro de 2001.
Ué, mas eu vi na TV o Bin Laden assumindo a culpa.
Oh, sim, tá certo. A fita de confissão de Bin Laden. No dia 14 de dezembro de 2001, o governo divulgou um tape de um Bin Laden confessando ter feito os ataques de 11 de setembro, que dizem ter encontrado em uma casa em Kandahar, no Afeganistão. É certo que existem inúmeras coisas erradas nesse tape. Primeiro, o próprio tape é de qualidade muito baixa.
Ah, tá. O velho truque da imagem de baixa qualidade que tanto usaram na farsa do Homem da Lua.
Segundo, o homem do vídeo não se parece e não agem como Bin Laden. De acordo com a homepage do FBI, Osama Bin Laden é canhoto. E nesse vídeo, ele escreve uma nota com a mão direita. Sem mencionar que usa um anel de ouro e relógio, que são proibidos pelas leis islâmicas. Isso nunca foi mencionado pelo FBI em nenhuma descrição dele. Comparando esse vídeo com outras 4 fotos de Bin Laden, ninguém vê um problema aqui?